Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Simplykay, back with another video. Okay, so this is the second video of the wedding series. I am talking about how to pick your wedding venue, what to look for, what questions to ask, all that. So if you're interested, stay tuned for this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and let's get right into it. So, if you were here for my last video, you know I write everything down. So, the first thing is, like I said in the last video, you really want to try out Zola or The Knot. I don't know of any other websites, but those two websites are like the top websites that I personally have signed on, downloaded, and used. And they can help you find wedding venues as well. So, I don't think I have it on here. But, okay, so I have The Knot. And once you sign in, they have tabs that say home, vendors, planning, registry, website. This is for The Knot. So you can go to vendors and then it'll give you, actually I probably should screen record it, but it'll give you all the options for vendors, and you can scroll down to ceremony venues and you can find, it shows all venues like in your area, and you can type in different like obviously your zip code and everything. So that is one way to find venues and just look and see what's around your area. You can look at some pictures. It tells you like their capacity, the address, and then all the reviews. Everyone who may have had a wedding or went to a wedding there, they have reviews, and then it gives you all their information. So that is one way. Another way is, like I said, go to the bridal expos. Sometimes, most of the time, they're at a venue, so you'll be able to see one venue, see all their rooms, and then you'll get information on other places in the area, or it depends on what kind of bridal expo it is. The bridal expo that I went to last was just for that venue, and it just had a whole bunch of vendors in there. So definitely bridal expos. And then online is your best friend, but like I said, The Knot and Zola are really good websites to use, because right now I'm not too sure how they're doing with like touring venues or not, but you can look online and just see if it looks like what you would like, and then maybe be able to schedule a tour or a consultation. So that is the first thing. Then you want to base your wedding venue off how many people you plan on having at your wedding. So for us, originally before COVID, we had like 190 people on our list, and so we were just looking for venues to fulfill that need for us. So definitely know the size, because some ballrooms will go up to like 300 people, some ballrooms are a little bit bigger and will go up to 500. Outdoor is like a whole nother set of numbers. So know how many guests you plan on having, and then just know when you book that, they'll have you book for like a minimum guest amount that you need to have. So we put like 125 people because we didn't want, in case people did not come, we didn't want to have to pay for a whole bunch of seats when that wasn't the final number because people couldn't make it. Obviously, my whole wedding is a different situation. My wedding was COVID planning, so we had to submit our final numbers 2 weeks before, regardless of what our contract said. So I think we ended up having like 110, and we didn't get penalized. Like, we still had to pay the same amount that we did on our contract, because obviously some people don't feel comfortable coming to weddings still with the pandemic and everything. So know how much people you're going to have in your guest list. Know which season you want to have your wedding in, because you need to know, like I said in the last video, as far as planning, the pricing is different for different seasons, different months. They have off seasons and they have popular seasons. So like September is a season that everyone tends to have weddings. June is another month that people have weddings. But like the off season, like I got married in February, that was the off season, so it was a little bit cheaper. So know which season you personally want to have it in. And then think about the weather. So most venues have an indoor option and an outdoor option. My first venue rather, because we switched at like a month before. Our first venue, you paid for the indoor ceremony, and if you wanted it outdoors, you had to pay an extra like $1,500. So they said we could always change our mind depending on the weather. Obviously it's February, it's cold, but sometimes it's nice. So we had the option to 2 weeks before, if we wanted to change it to outdoors, that would have been fine, but we would have had to pay an extra $1,500. We ended up having our wedding indoors at a new venue, but just know, like, ask when you sit down with the venue, do you have different costs for your indoor and your outdoor room? So just know weather. Be prepared. If you do choose outside and then it rains or snows, that's another question you want to ask. Is there a fine, or do I have to pay more to have the wedding moved inside? You want to know all that before the wedding, because you never know, depending on what year, you never know when it's going to rain. That's one thing. And then you never know if you have it in the winter snow-wise. So know what your venue does if there's a snowstorm or if there's a state of emergency and everything's shut down. You need to know what their plan is and if you'll get penalized or how will they work with you in that situation. So that's that. Then you want to know pricing. Do not go into finding a wedding venue without having a budget. So I did get questions in our last video, my last video, about what my budget was. I did not mention it. So our budget was literally $25,000. No more than that. No. So we were blessed enough to have my parents paid for the wedding. So they paid for the venue and all that came with the venue. They paid for that. We paid for the photographer and videographer, which I want to say was about $2,300 for the package we chose. And then we paid for like little things along the way, like my dresses were like, one was like $900, and then when I made my mom's, it might have been like $500, $600. I paid almost $2,000 for both of the dresses with all alterations and everything like that. So that came out of my my budget. And then shoes, not even including my bridesmaids proposals, which that'll be another video talking about that. All that was out of my pocket. I paid for to make their proposals, to get their gifts. The only thing that they paid for were their shoes and their dresses, which were also on sale, and I will talk about that in another video. We paid for his tux, like all the attire, but the groomsmen paid for their suits and everything. And then what else is there? The DJ my parents paid for, because the DJ we wanted and we were gonna pay for had to work, so we couldn't even use him anymore, but they had found someone and they paid for that. So I think that's pretty much it. Invitations and everything we got on sale, those were out of pocket. Our centerpieces we paid for out of pocket and made them ourselves. The bouquets, the boys' flowers, we bought and made ourselves. Mostly everything we made ourselves. We didn't use a florist, we didn't use a wedding planner. We did all that ourselves. So our wedding did not come out to $25,000, but I think it was close to 20, I want to say. I don't know for sure because I did not pay for it. I did not ask. I mean, I'm sure they'll let me know if I ask, but after adding everything up, I think it was maybe a little under 20,000 because we ended up having less people, but moving it, we had tax and everything. So like 20,000 is our budget, but you have to do what works for you. Set a budget. Things are expensive. Like if you get a florist and stuff, like I mentioned before, that stuff is expensive. I did not have time for that. I did not. We DIY'd the heck out of this wedding and it looked amazing. So I will definitely share photos with you later on as I talk about all the things that we DIY'd. That'll be another video. But pricing. Know how much you want to pay. If your parents are helping, know what they're contributing. If your significant other's parents are helping, know what they're contributing. And then you guys, if you're going to contribute. A lot of people do that. I'm the only girl in my family. I'm the youngest. So they paid for my wedding. So, and we were lucky enough, his parents paid for our honeymoon, which we did postpone and have to push back. But it's like, that's stuff that we're just grateful for. Like that doesn't usually always happen. So definitely try to work something out, but don't go over budget. You can have a beautiful wedding and not pay that much money. I don't know how people have like these $40,000-$50,000 weddings. Like, no ma'am, no. If my parents weren't paying for it, we would have had something way smaller. We would not have been doing any of that. So pricing. Then you want to talk to the venue about what's included in their package. So for ours, it was all the food, which was so much food. Everyone till this day is still talking about how much food we had at our wedding because it was so much. We had to sit down with them and pick it. So we had appetizers. The cocktail hour stations were like, there were so many stations, like cheesesteaks, everything. We picked everything possible that we could have. We picked it all. So many food stations that by the time you were done cocktail hour, you didn't even need dinner. That's how much food we had. So we had cocktail hour, then we had the first course, your second course, like your entree, then you had the cake, and then we had a dessert bar. So then all that was included as well. They do have options for like stuff during the cocktail hour and stuff in the dessert bar that you can add on, but you pay more depending on what it was. Like I think like sushi, like a sushi stand during the cocktail hour was extra. We did not pay for that. We paid for everything that was included and just picked what we would want and what we thought guests would want. So definitely know what they're going to include and then pay attention, because a lot of the stuff is like additional fee. So you got to be careful. But if it's what you want, then it's what you want. But our package was like amazing. Then open bar, that was also an option for us. I'm not too sure how much it was, but it was included in our thing if we wanted it. So we did open bar. There might have been a fee for it, but I'm not too sure what it was. I really don't know, to be honest. But we did do open bar. So just know what they cost for if you want to do open bar. If you don't, if you want to do like signature drinks, I know that that's an option to like pick 2 and then have everyone do like a cash bar if you don't want to pay for it. So just know your options and talk to them when you're sitting down in your consultation, because all this stuff you might forget about, but it's important because it's gonna cost. Then I talked about the dessert. The cake was also included, so they gave us 3 people to reach out to that we can go to get cake tasting. So we went to just one because it was close by and we had heard good reviews. I looked the person up and everything looked good, so we went and did a cake tasting there and ended up loving it. So we went through them. Cake was included in our venue price. So stuff like that is great. Cakes, I'm not too sure how expensive they are if they're not included, so that's something you want to ask if it's not. You need to figure out, going to bakeries, how much do they charge, how much do you want to pay. We had I want to say a 3-tier cake, and then we had a cake because it was also my mom's birthday the day we got married, so we had got her a little cake. That was the only thing we paid for outside of the venue. The venue covered our wedding cake. We paid for the extra little cake that we got my mom. That was it. And it wasn't even bad. It was like maybe $80 to $80. Not too bad. Then you want to see, how are you going to get ready for the wedding? Speaking to women mostly, because it takes us a long time to get ready. We have to get our hair done. We have to get our makeup done. You have to take pictures. So see if your venue has a bridal suite. Usually they do, so that you can come, get dressed, get ready, and just have somewhere if you're going to change into your second dress, or you just need a room to go to during the wedding to like freshen up, whatever. See if they have bridal suites. Usually they do. So for ours, some of my bridesmaids got their makeup done at my house, and then other people got their makeup done elsewhere. We all met at the venue like in 2 hours before. Everyone bought their dress, everyone brought their robes that I had gotten them. Oh no, I had the robes there already. So they changed into their robes, we took pictures with the photographer, and then we all got ready in the room, and then we were taking pictures and stuff in there. So that was nice. But everyone had their hair and makeup done already, which I thought was actually a lot better. I could not imagine trying to get my hair and my makeup and everything done the day of the wedding. There's just too much going on. You have so many pictures to take, so I would suggest doing that. Like I got my hair done the day before and then just fixed it the morning of the wedding at my house, and then got my makeup done, and then we just drove to the venue. So that alleviated so much stress, because my whole face, everything, hair was done. Just had to put my dress on and everyone else get ready and then take pictures. So see if they have a bridal suite. For men, they usually don't. Guys they don't need anything, you guys. They just get dressed and call it a day. Like takes them like 10 seconds. My husband got a hotel room down the street from the venue, and all the groomsmen and him got ready and got dressed and took their pictures, and that was it. And then they came to the venue the same time we did as well, so that we could take pictures and do our first look. But that was it. The guys were like smooth, easy. We opened up our gifts in the bridal suite, so I cannot wait to get our video back. But he gave me a gift, I gave him a gift, and the videographer recorded us opening it up in his hotel room, and then in the bridal suite I opened up my gifts. So it was really nice to have that space. But there's so much to do on the day of your wedding, you need that space. So I would suggest make sure the place has a bridal suite. If not, they have to have some kind of room for you. Then setting up. So we were spoiled. Like everything just ended up working out. After all the stress of COVID and everything else, we got lucky. So setting up, you need to know what they're going to set up. Are they going to put your centerpieces out? Do they make the table? Like, do they set up everything in the room that needs to be set up for you? Do they allow like your vendors to come early, like your DJ to come and set up? You need to know all that before, so you can plan out accordingly when everything's going to be set up. So my wedding was at a venue that had like 3, 4, or 5 rooms, and no one else was there. No other weddings were there that day, so we got the whole place to ourselves. And I ended up getting 2 ballrooms, one for my ceremony and one for my reception. I was like, thank you, Jesus. But we were allowed to come the day before and set things up. So the day we had our rehearsal dinner, which was the day before the wedding, my mom and like some of her friends and family were like helping set up the reception ballroom. We were putting the centerpieces out on the table, all while we were doing our rehearsal downstairs. Upstairs for the reception was being set up. So definitely see what they will allow you to do, because you never know. We were like, oh shoot, we can come the day before and have everything set up, so then when we come tomorrow, it's ready. Yes, like, thank you. So definitely ask what your options are, because you never know. They might be willing to let you just come early, even earlier. Usually they let you come 2 hours before, but I know if there's another wedding going on, then that can get a little tricky. But because we had the whole building, they were just like, do whatever you want. So know what they're gonna set up. They basically set up all the tablecloths, chairs. They set up all the order, how the chairs were organized, and then we put the centerpieces and all the decor up that we had made, and that was it. My mom decorated the ceremony ballroom down the aisle. That was pretty much it. She put the little cards on the chairs. That was it. It was really minimal. The ballroom was beautiful, so we didn't have to do much at all. But just know what they're gonna set up, because my venue did not do centerpieces, so we had to make sure we got there and did our centerpieces. And talking about centerpieces, do they even do or offer centerpieces? If they don't, you're gonna have to find centerpieces or make them. We made them and they looked beautiful. They were so easy to make. In my DIY video, I will show you guys that, but just know, because some venues do the centerpieces, which is nice, but I didn't want to pay for anything, so we made our own, and they were beautiful. Everyone loved them. So the last most important thing before we wrap this video up is your contract. Read your contract, people, because my contract was signed September 2019, and we didn't have nothing about no COVID, no pandemic, no refund about pandemic, changing your date, nothing. So read your contract, because I'm sure now COVID is in those contracts. So we got to finagle a lot of things, because we were like, oh no, if you can't have our wedding on our date, then we gonna need that money back, because you pay deposits all along the way, and it's a lot of money. Like, I think our first deposit was like $2,000 to hold the date, then $3,000, then like $5,000, and then we had some time, and then I think it was the rest of the balance. I don't know, but you pay a lot of money. So you need to know what's going to happen if the venue is closed for weather, another pandemic happens or something, or COVID resurges and the wedding gets canceled or you can't have it because of the capacity rules. Know what they're going to do if capacity changes and they can only have like 50% of the venue capacity. I think at the time of my wedding it was like 30%. So we could only have I want to say 150, 160. But we ended up having less than that anyway. But you need to know all this, especially because of COVID. Everything is different. You need to know what their possibilities are for if it's indoor and the capacity changes. Can you have the wedding outdoor? Know this refund stuff, because a lot of the venues do no refunds for deposits, and technically every payment that you pay is a deposit. So we were heated at one point, like, oh no. They were trying to get us to push our wedding back. I said, no ma'am, no sir, I can't push it back. We're having this wedding February 26th. Period. If I have to be outside in my backyard, if I have to be in the street, I don't know. But we were having this wedding, and they just kept trying to get us to push it back, push it back, push it back. And that was the problem with our venue. Our venue did not know how many people they would allow. They were like, the state hasn't let us know. Mind you, we're a month away from our wedding, and we did not know. Didn't have invitations sent, nothing, because we were like, we don't even know this wedding's gonna happen. Didn't know if we were gonna have a reception. It was stressful, you guys. It was so stressful. So know what their plans are for if the pandemic resurges or anything else comes up, because that's stressful. And especially if you bought invitations, sent them out, had everything dated, because if you change your date, then guess what, you have to get all that redone. So I was lucky enough to like hold out, and I was like, I'm not sending out these invitations until we know for sure. So we made our invitations, so that's also what kind of saved us. So we didn't have to worry about changing a date on it, or our time ended up being changed and the venue. So luckily we made our invitations and didn't have to worry about redoing that. But it was a lot of stress, you guys. It was a lot of stress. So know what they say in that contract. Read it, ask questions, do not sign, do not hand over money until you are satisfied with what they'll do if an emergency or like I said, the pandemic resurges or something happens in the future, you need to know, because this is a lot of money, like a lot of money. And people were getting like half refunds, no refunds at all, like not $20,000, no ma'am, that could be for a house. Like, you can't play about your money. So ask all the questions that come to your mind before signing anything, because now they include pandemic and everything. Even the photographers and videographers know them too, because I had to we had to cancel our first photographer and videographer because they were playing, so they didn't have anything in the contract. So they're currently paying us back all their money that we paid them because they canceled on their part because of COVID. So it was just a mess. Just know what every contract says. Your DJ's contract, photographer, videographer contract, your florist contract. Especially if you do a florist and you pay for the flowers, they're real. You need to know what's going to happen if the wedding gets canceled or pushed back. Do you get money back or do you just lose everything? So that is like the most important thing. And then lastly, payment plans. Ask about payment plans because it's a lot of money to put up front. I would suggest saving a lot before, at least like $5,000 before even talking to the venue, just so you have it, because the deposits are up there. So you want to make sure you have some money saved, and then you never know what's going to come up, but they expect you to pay on time. If you don't, you can get penalized. They can cancel your wedding. So you want to make sure, if you need a payment plan, to discuss the options with them, because they might space it out differently for you. And then we had to pay by check, so no credit card, none of that. I don't think I'm not too sure, don't quote me on that. Ask the venue their options, but we paid check, and you have to have that money when they want it. So that is it for this video. It was kind of long, but there's a lot of stuff you need to know, and I want to make sure you guys are prepared and ready, because I was stressed. Like, I was stressed. My mom was stressed, I was stressed, my husband was stressed because I was stressed. It was a lot, and if we would have known all this before, and obviously we were dealing with COVID, but I want to make sure that you guys know what you're getting into before you sign a contract, especially now, because it's going to be all included in there. They're going to be like, if there's a pandemic, we're still not giving you a refund. They will do that. It's about the money. So yeah, that's all I have for this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. If you have any questions about looking for a wedding venue, just leave those down below, and then just stay tuned, because this wedding series is not ending anytime soon. We have many more videos to come. If you have any certain requests, leave them down below, and I'll try to include them in my next videos. So thank you for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye guys.